This is the 411. Your host, Matt Mike. Hey, Sport Junkie fans, welcome to a fresh edition of the 411. I'm Matt Mike, your host. Two topics that we'll talk about today. First, Vince Carter returned to Toronto and got a standing ovation. The crowd exploded with enthusiasm for Vince Carter, and there was a tribute on the Jumbotron. Let's just talk about Vince Carter's career as a whole. He was one of the best players ever to play the game above the rim. What I mean by that is he exploded above the rim. He was one of those high-fly players. He brought excitement to the NBA. And he was one of those guys that every single night he would make something magical happen. It was unbelievable. Even back when he was playing at UNC, he was making highlight dunks at UNC. And Dickie V calling those games and just the excitement building around him was incredible. I remember watching the slam dunk contest, and the first dunk he made, it was over. There was no doubt about it. He was going to win that contest and hold up the trophy. And what he did, he elevated the game to a whole new level. No pun intended, obviously. But he just watching him, he was one of my favorite basketball players ever to play. Just because what he could do above the rim, it was incredible. You know, he doesn't have he hasn't done the type of stats that LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, those type of guys. He hasn't put the same number of stats as they have. Tim Duncan, but what he's meant to the game of basketball will never be forgotten. He's done it with such class, such poise, and even the Olympics when he jumped over his opponent, just those type of memories you'll never forget. It's a really sad day. It was going to be a real sad day when he does decide to hang up his shoes and call it a career. But what a career Vince Carter has had, and what an impact he has on the game of basketball. It really is something that we should think about and cherish, because he was one of the greatest dunkers ever to play the game. So hats off to Vince Carter for an incredible career. Second, college football. Another weekend of college football is about to come upon us, and it's rivalry week. A lot of intense rivalries. Last night, obviously, the UNC Duke game. This weekend, Harvard, Yale. College game day is surrounding that game. There's a lot of anticipation with that game. The Bulldogs, they're going to be 8-1 on the year. The Harvard Crimson, they're 9-0, and they have a chance to win the Ivy League title outright. If they win, they win the title outright. If they lose, they have to share it to the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs have they have the most wins in the competition. They have, in face-to-face meetings, they have the most wins. But as of late, Harvard has gotten the best of the Bulldogs. I mean, they're a dominant force. They have a lot of NFL prospects in that team, in that program. So it's very exciting to watch that unfold, even if it's not your typical SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12 matchup. It's exciting to watch because those two are some of the historic programs ever to play college football. You think about the most historic programs. You think of Ohio State. You think of Michigan. And now you had to think about the Ivy League. The Ivy League was one of the best premier programs, multiple programs in the country back in the day. You think about celebrating for your school, celebrating for your classmates, and the pride in your school to win. That's what it's all about. And you think about the best rivalries in the game of college football. You think of Harvard, Yale. You think of Michigan, Ohio State. You think of USC versus UCLA. You think of Miami, Florida State. Those are the type of rivalries that you want to watch as a fan, because anything can happen. Obviously, last week with Miami, Florida State was down by however many, 20 plus, and Jameis Winston led that team to another victory, an unprecedented victory. Just another thing that you just have to. You wonder, did I really just witness that? So hopefully the Harvard-Yale game is something that we'll always remember. I think Harvard will pull off the victory. I think they have too much on defense, and they're a very good defensive ball club. I think they will pull off the victory and win the Ivy League title. I'm Matt Mike on the 411. See you next time.